Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over Shards of Infinity, the Saga collection. This is going to be completely over the entire campaign that's kind of enclosed within this box. And prior to doing this entire campaign, I had only played Shards of Infinity, I think like once on the app. And app games aren't necessarily for me, especially to like learn a game. I think now I would enjoy it a lot more because I know the systems and like it would just be quicker to get played, kind of like with Dominion. But after having played all of this, I honestly think that this is, if you're going to do a deck building campaign, this is one of the better ways to go about it, because I just finished the Star Realms Rise of the Empire campaign, and that was mediocre at best. This, I don't know if it's whether I think Shards of Infinity is a better deck builder, or if I just thought that the way they went about introducing new things was more clever. Both of them, at the end of the day, are still play Shards of Infinity, play Star Realms, over and over and over and over. But the way that Shards did it was they had this saga tracker, and you have 5 chapters within the thing, and it kind of incentivizes you to just play Shards of Infinity a lot. And while I wouldn't necessarily say that's a fun campaign idea, because the concept of chapters means once you finish one, you move on to the next one, that's not the case here. It helps if you look at this more of as like an achievement list, because chapter 1, for example, it teaches you Shards of Infinity, and you have half this center deck, which is insane by the end of the game, but you have maybe about half that, and it tells you to complete so many objectives. There are 8 of them, and some of them are kind of difficult. You can probably pop 2 or 3 in one game, but like you need to gain 10 health in a single turn, banish 4 cards from your deck in a single game, win a game with 30 mastery, which mastery is like the biggest difference that makes Shards of Infinity, I think, kind of better than some standard deck builders. But you have 8 objectives, you need to complete 4 of them. And it doesn't tell you do all these in one sitting, it wants you to play over and over and over. Theoretically, you could play 4 games of Shards of Infinity and just complete one of them each game. But talking about the core system of Shards of Infinity, I worry when I play a lot of games like this, because how many standard deck builders can you have? Like currently, I have Dominion, Hero Realms, Star Realms, Shards of Infinity now, and there's probably more that just aren't coming off the top of my head, and they all kind of do the same thing at the end of the day. I mean, Dominion's kind of the outlier here, but you get your currency, you get your attack, and that's kind of it. But what Shards does that makes it, I think, a lot more fun is they have this mastery. It's a 3rd resource that you can increase, and it's kind of your character's power up from these shards that they have. And as you increase in those, and so far nothing I have seen ever decreases your mastery, it constantly goes up. And a lot of cards will give extra bonuses if you have a certain number. Like, do I have any in my hand? Like, well, one, just your one of your standard cards, your Infinity Shard. It does 2 damage, but if you have 10 mastery, it does 3. If you have 20, it does 5. If you have 30, which is the max you can have, it does infinite damage. Which, I mean, if anyone hits 30 mastery, it's a ticking time bomb on when are they going to draw it to win. But I love that concept of your cards kind of get more and more powerful. Not all of them, but some of your cards get more and more powerful the longer the game goes on. So it's eventually going to be either knock someone out of 50 health, or you're going to win through your Infinity Shard. And I think that's really neat, because some cards will just be like, gain 1 mastery. But if you have 10, you get to also draw a card. And that raises the stakes of every game. It also ramps up the game a lot quicker. In this one, I feel like my deck is popping off a lot more. I'm doing a lot more damage. Like I said, I just finished Star Realms, and you'd be lucky early on in the game to do 5-6 damage, but in this game it feels like you're doing 5-6 damage almost immediately, or you're buying high level cards immediately just because you're able to use your mastery to better off your cards. And I think that makes it a lot more fun. It also makes the games, especially for the saga mode, way more endurable because you're not having to play 30, 45 minutes of a game and do that 10 times. I mean, you're going to be playing this game a lot unless you just quickly want to get through all the chapters and just play them. But I don't know. The mastery system I really enjoy. The other thing I really like is they have the concept of champions, just like allies or whatever they were called in Star Realms, that stay out on the board. But none of those champions have like a health, or they have blocker or outpost or whatever it might be to like kind of shield you from your opponent dealing damage. Damage is just kind of liquid in this, and your opponent can have 10 power and be like, okay, I'm gonna assign 6 to that champion and 4 to you, or they could just completely bypass your champions and let you have them instead of being forced to attack them. And some people might like or dislike this. I actually think what they do in Shards is a little bit better because cards have a shield value on them. Like this Crimson Operative has 3 shield. So if you have this in your hand and you're attacked for 4 damage, you just have to reveal this and be like, I have 3 shields, so I'm only taking the 1 damage. And that's it. You don't have to discard, you don't have to have him out on the field, you still get to use him for his ability. And I really enjoy that aspect because you can go very defensive by only focusing on shield cards. And you can do that in the other games as well, but they stay out on the board. There's combos of the races, just like in the other games, and they ramp within each other very, very well. So that's a synergy that's still in this game. But I found every faction to be equally viable, very useful to have. And while I think in Star Realms and Hero Realms the art's better than this, I just like the flow of this game a lot more. Now, that was my thoughts on Shards of Infinity. Now we go back to the rest of it. So yeah, the saga tracker is interesting again because that chapter 1, like I said, was fulfilling those objectives. Chapter 2, you need to be able to play a relic. Every character gets one of their 2 characters' relics, and you just pick a character, and that's who you are. And some cards that get thrown in the deck are more powerful if you're a certain character. But once you hit 10 mastery, you get to pick one of your 2 relics, the other one gets banished, and it gets shuffled into your deck, and that kind of helps you maybe do some better deck building. I thought the relics were fine. I sometimes would ramp my mastery quicker, and I'd get to 10 and then forget that I could add it, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be able to add that. Then I would throw it in. Then you get to and it wants you to do that for each one. There are 6 characters in the game, Shard Masters, and it wants you to play a relic for each one. So not only, you might be able to get through chapter 1 pretty quick if you get lucky and pop 4 objectives off in one game, maybe 2. But then chapter 2, if you only have 2 players, you're needing to play at least 3 games and hope that you get your mastery high enough to be able to get it and then play it. So unless you're playing a 4-player game where you can knock 4 of those, at the very least, you're still doing 2 chapters. Then chapter 3 comes in. And this is where I thought that this is where the game should have been the entire time. And the reason why I got this is because chapter 3 goes on this side mission where it becomes a cooperative game. And you have this battle book that I don't know why this wasn't just designed around. I think that the cooperative nature of this game is so much fun, and you would essentially, it was kind of a boss battler, honestly. You have a fate deck, and you're given some whatever story that they could come up with for a deck builder, and you're kind of given 2 options on which boss do you want to fight. And you pick that, you go and fight them, they have their own unique cards, and they have their own tracker, for mastery. Woo! And then you and your ally are, teaming up to defeat them. And in that, I really enjoyed because you could combine power to like defeat champions or defeat the boss's minions that get put in front of you. Each one that was killed in front of you raised your mastery by 2. So I really enjoyed that, and the bosses I thought that we fought were all pretty diverse, like in kind of what they did. So it's just kind of weird that you have this competitive 1v1 or multiplayer deck builder, and then all of a sudden you were kind of forced to be cooperative. But then it kind of asks, oh, are you gonna cooperate? You're like paranoid about all the other people with their powers, and they might try and kill you and take your power. And at the very end of that, it's just like, do you really? What does it say? It was so. Yeah, the choice is yours. Will you continue the war for the shards and ultimate power, or learn to work together and use the shards for a greater, more peaceful future? And then you go right back into fighting each other. So it's like, why did it even give me the option? Because I was thinking, oh, damn, it's going to, if you decide that you want to still play competitive, it's going to go that route. But if you want to play cooperative, it's going to go the other route. It didn't do that. So I don't know why it just shoehorned in this cooperative chapter instead of just making it its own thing. But it was a nice change of pace. It was right in the middle of a 5-part chapter, so I didn't hate it. But then chapters 4 and 5. Chapter 4 introduces these kind of group enemies where they just kind of stay out in limbo with 10 health and they affect everyone. So you're incentivized to try and kill them, and once you deal 10 damage to them, you get the reward. So you're just trying to kill one of them. And then chapter 5, and the reason why chapter 4, and I'm still saying, it doesn't get shorter. You just might get lucky because by that point, your deck is looking like this, and the Ingamineks, which are the villains you have to kill, they're just shuffled into this deck. And so you have to draw them out. And luckily, when we played Chapter 4, it came out immediately versus just, where are they? So if you never draw them, then you're stuck in Chapter 4 until you do. And maybe the game's over. And it's still competitive. It's not like this is now semi-cooperative. You're still trying to kill one another while also defeating one of them. And then Chapter 5 follows the same notion of play Shards of Infinity over and over and over again. Well, not over and over and over and over again, but at least 3 times. Because it introduces these destiny cards. And this is a neat concept. I don't really hate any of these chapters. But whenever you start the first game in Chapter 5, you draw 3 of these destiny cards and you pick one. And these are kind of permanent powers that you get. And it costs, once you have 5 mastery, you unlock the ability of whatever it might be. Like, one of them was pay 6 crystals to exhaust that card and deal 9 damage. So, you do that. Once you win a game with that relic, you write it down, and then the next game you play, you draw another 3, and you add the one you picked from that to the one that you won with. So by the 3rd game in Chapter 5, you will have 3 destiny cards. And then if you win a game like that, well, that's that one. And then, yes. So yeah, you're supposed to win with 3 destinies. And that wins the saga mode. I don't, and like, again, an achievement track is the best way to look at that. Because, or maybe just play with max players. Because that way it'll probably go by a lot quicker. But the Destiny cards I thought were really cool. You can get kind of a unique build. Like the one that I did in this last game was big on, I just wanted to go all out on damage. And one of them was, just deal everyone 4 damage. Shields don't block it, you're just dealing everyone 4 damage. Pay 6 crystals to deal 9 damage. If you play crystal cards with an odd number, you get to deal 4 damage. Things like that. So I wanted to like ramp in damage in one turn. And what's also neat from the Chapter 3 stuff, each time you beat a boss, and there's 3 bosses that you fight, 6 available, and each time you beat one, you got to add a card to your personal deck. And that's one thing that Star Realms Rise of the Empire just did not do, was make your personal starting deck unique. It wasn't much. You pretty much only get like 2 cards to add to your deck, but it was enough. It was enough to kind of get you kickstarted in a direction that you wanted to go the rest of the campaign. I didn't hate that. I thoroughly enjoyed it quite a bit. So that's pretty much it. I think that the chapter thing is kind of weird. It's really kind of a... It's almost like you have to go through the saga mode just to have everything unlocked. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. I think it's weird. Not that it doesn't work, but if you wanted to just play Shards of Infinity, I guess you could just play Chapter 1 over and over. But it's a weird way to introduce expansions, and I haven't really seen it done before. But yeah, I think Shards of Infinity is a great deck builder. I really like the core systems, the things that make it different. The saga mode, for what it is, I don't hate, but I would never really want to do it again. If someone was like, hey, I want to go through the saga campaign and just play it completely true to what it wants you to do, it's like, I don't want to play 40 games of Shards of Infinity. Like, that doesn't sound fun to me. I like the game, I don't like it that much. Unless it's on the app. I mean, the app would be just a lot quicker. I don't know if it is, but I know it advertises the app on the back, so I don't know what's available there. But yeah, it's a good time. I had a lot more fun playing this than I did the Star Realms Rise of the Empire campaign, and I wasn't miserable by the end of it. So that's it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'm gonna give Shards of Infinity, the Saga Collection, I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's a good game, and I don't know why I don't feel like going higher. I think it's just because these kinds of deck builders, like the multi 1v1 or attack your opponents, don't necessarily do it for me because I did just play a bunch of this, so I might be slightly burned out, but it's kind of, I don't know, the way other deck builders do things. And I just got done doing an expedition for Aeon's End as well, and that was just fun every single time. So maybe it's just they're kind of a little bit more simple than I'm wanting. But no, because Dominion's pretty simple too, but there's so many combinations of cards that each game is going to be a different build for your deck. So I don't know why. Maybe these Shards of Infinity, the Saga Collection, is the newest, but it's not like it's the only version. This has been ramping up to this. But yeah, it's a good game. If someone wanted to play this, I would play it, or get the app and just play it through the app, and that would be equally fun. So yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts on Shards of Infinity. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.